Michael, would you like to share a few thoughts about why you believe in the keeping place?
I was in Melbourne this week, and as is my usual practice, and as is Philip Ruddock's practice, and I'm sure Daryl Maquire's practice, I acknowledged the Indigenous people of the land. I paid my respects to them, and I paid my respects to their ancestors and to their members who were present. And immediately afterwards, a person came up to me. He was a very polite person. He was a very well-educated Australian, and he said, "Why don't you acknowledge my forebears? I'm the descendant of a convict. Why did you only acknowledge the Aboriginal people?" So I took a big breath and I said, well, of course I acknowledge all Australians who contributed, but the people of the settlers community have had their history recorded and have had their institutions honoured, and rightly so. But the people of the Indigenous communities have not always been recorded and acknowledged. And so we are making an effort in our country now to correct that and to change it and to change the mindset. And I think it was a good thing that I did this. I knew that I would get a bit of a reaction. But that's what you want, not pallid people who just don't ever react. You've got to explain. And that, I think, is where Gordon's works of art come in. Now, Gordon is a very unusual artist because many artists are only sort of able to do one thing. I had to take part in the launch of Francis Bacon's exhibition down at the Art Gallery at the moment the other day, and it's very surreal and to reach out. And that, I think, is where Gordon's works of art come in. Now, Gordon is a very unusual artist because many artists are only sort of able to do one thing. I had to take part in the launch of Francis Bacon's exhibition down at the Art Gallery at the moment the other day, and it's very surreal, and it's all the sort of same, and it's all rather angry. Gordon's got a few angry works, but some of his are classical portraits. Some of them are very Turner-like. They're as if they're on the Thames, with all the colours and mists and time. And it was one of those that Gordon decided he would give to me to take to London to give to the Queen. On the back he wrote, "To the Queen of England. These were the people who invaded our land." And it was one of those wonderful paintings of Gordon's showing the First Fleet coming mysteriously into the Sydney Harbour. Just imagine what that would have meant to Aboriginal people. And of course their first words were, "Go away." But this mysterious picture of the First Fleet, these creatures from outer space coming into Aboriginal land. And the Queen was pleased to receive the portrait. It's probably there at Windsor Castle in the Royal Collection, and I hope it will be honoured there. Now the question is, what are we going to do in Australia to honour Gordon's work? Myself, I think it will be necessary to make it, as Jeff McMullen has suggested, the core of a collection which people can see at the very site where Australia's modern life began, and where people can go and see the core which Gordon's work will make, but also the contributions of young Aboriginal artists and new contributors. We don't have that at the moment, and I think it's something which we should have in Australia. There's a lot of talk about building a lot of very new and expensive buildings down in that part of Sydney. Well, my feeling would be if that is done, there should be $1 million or two over for Gordon and for the work of art, the works of art and the plastic works and all the other art and the history and the photographs to remind us of our not always lovely relationship with the Aboriginal people of Australia. And so that's why I'm here. Philip Ruddock and I have a unity ticket on this subject.
Absolutely.
We have complete unanimity, and I pay tribute to Philip, the father of the House of Representatives, for his faithful support for Gordon Syron and his work. So I'm very proud to be here, and I hope that we can start something today that will ensure that Gordon's work will be placed in an environment of honour in its variety. And as one of the artistic commentators has made the point, this is a collection that hasn't had a curator. This is the authentic work of an artist over his lifetime, showing his different phases through which his art has moved. And I think that gives it a unique value, and so I'm very proud to be associated with the other supporters of this enterprise, and I hope it can touch the heart and gain the interest and touch the pocket of Australians. We should be contributing to recording and memorialising and preserving the art of our Indigenous people and of a great Indigenous artist like Gordon Syron.